Hey, good morning, everybody. Sarasota Tim. How are you officially 63,000 beautiful souls this morning? Coming to you from 7-Eleven. And man, I got a story for you this morning, how I finally ended up here. But I'm glad I did because this is the best cup of coffee I ever had in my life. This is such good coffee. So I got up this morning. You know, we go to bed with the chickens around there. So I climb into my little nest, into that little teardrop. It's so cozy. And I'm looking through your wonderful comments. Thank you so much for all your... I answered a few. The comments are going wild and crazy. And while they're all very unique and loving and personal, there's something synonymous about them all regarding a video yesterday. And thank you so much. Enough said. All right. So moving on. I got the best community in the world. I got the best life in the world. I'm fixing to improve on it. Hopefully, if I can get out of Dodge here pretty quickly. In a couple of days, I'll be seeing my eye doctor. I hit the DMV tomorrow, I think, to get the tag and title. And I'll be making my way back to that home base in Jacksonville, picking up a few things and hitting the road. And the weather is just coming on. We're getting ready to spring forward with the time. It's really coming together. I'm very excited about it. But I'm not going to rush anything because I'm really seeing how God is totally in control. The more I surrender my life to just chilling out, like you've been telling me, just chill out, and let things happen. Don't try to force a square peg in a round hole. Man, that's good coffee. 7-Eleven coffee. I got the extra large. I was tempted to get the $2.50 deal. This was $2.77. Oh, excuse me. Thank you very much. This is a commercial brought to you by Buy Me a Coffee. For those that bought me a coffee and will be buying me a coffee again tomorrow, because there's plenty of funds there, and your generosity is most appreciated. You know I love my coffee. I know you love your coffee. I know you're very generous. Thank you so much for this free coffee. Best coffee in the world. Now, on to the video. What was I going to say? Woke up this morning. Yeah, we go to bed with the chickens. I'm laying in there. I get up. I got to do the eye drops, you know. I just did some more right now. I'm a little early, but I can't wait. We are going to breakfast this morning. So I wanted to go to LA Fitness to wash the sleep off. I told you before, when I go to LA Fitness, you can't even find parking spots there. It's just absolutely amazing how many people crush it early in the morning at the gym doing those workouts before they go to the office. And, you know, that's cool. So I get there this morning and I had forgotten that it was about 5:45. And Lazy Bones LA Fitness doesn't open I think they were supposed to open at 5 in the morning. I don't know why they weren't open now that I'm thinking about it. People are standing outside. Maybe that's why they were, because somebody was running late and didn't come in. I'm pretty sure that gym opens at 5. I know they open later on the weekends. What I'm thinking of is my next part of my story. So I pull in, all these people are standing out there. I was like, I need coffee. I didn't even get any coffee yet. I'll back out. So I turned my headlights off because everybody was looking at me with deer in the headlights. So I went down to halo mode, and they can see my cool halo lights. And I turned around, pulled out of there, went on down the Hypalexo Road to the Wawa. Got in there. As I'm walking to the door, I'm realizing this is what I'm thinking about that doesn't open until 6. And it's 10 to 6. It was 6:15 when I was at LA Fitness. 5 minutes later, I'm at Wawa. It's still 10 to 6. That's an eternity to me to wait for a good cup of coffee. So I just get back in the truck, jump on I-95, and down I come to Woolbright. Get off, come over here, I know 7-Eleven's open 24 hours. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. And so here I am. No shower, no Wawa coffee. Drove all the way around the world, burned I don't know how much gas to get this delicious cup of coffee. Well worth it. But yeah, that's what happened. Somebody didn't show up at LA Fitness this morning. And it happens. You know, they got to open at 5. That means they got to get up at 3:30 in the morning to have their breakfast and coffee and drive and shower and shave and do what they got to do to get to that prison job. So, they're AWOL this morning. Yeah, I'm sure they open at 5. I am not rubbing my eye. Quit telling me that. It feels like I have an eyelash in my eye. I have those sutures. And let me see. If I close the right eye and look around, it's pretty good. When I woke up, I closed the right eye and I'm looking at my phone and it was that white frost. I'm wondering if you're blind, if that's what they actually see instead of black. If it's that white, it's like a church window or a frosted glass, you know, that you cannot see through. That's exactly what it looks like. I mean, I don't want to be blind, but I would rather maybe look at a white frost, even though I can't see anything, than maybe black. So I don't know, you know, if people that are blind or that were born blind, what they see. And some people are legally blind. They can make out, but they can't drive or anything. But yeah, a lot of people were talking about the eyes and how important it is. And you telling me? Now I'm doing all I can do. I'm taking my eye drops, and it's a slow process. You know, if I had only known really about the seriousness of someone going in, putting you under, and operating on your eyeball, where they're sticking something in it. Not my eyelid, not my cheek, not around my eye, but my eye. And then putting stitches in and da-da-da-da. And that's like taking the lens out of a camera and messing around with it. Or the Hubble telescope. You know, there was a story about that where it was blurry. Somebody didn't clean it or I heard something on Discovery Channel or something one time. That was a big boo-boo. But anyway, we got our coffee. We're here. We're moving at the pace that we're supposed to be. And we're over there in absolute paradise. Tom and Lucy that are visiting from New York, I mention all the time, are returning to New York Thursday. They had an Airbnb for a whole month here. He comes every year. He's a real delight to have on the property. He comes around. There's not a negative utterance from his mouth. He is such a nice gentleman. You can tell. He is not. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say what he is as far as his religion. But he is the epitome of a good person that shows his fruit, that I've learned from. It rubs off on you. He's been around every day, and every time he comes around, his presence, what he exudes is so obvious that you're like, I need to be more like that. I mean, this is the way to be. You know, he's just so nice to everybody and helpful and never wants to impose. I mean, he's always just, it's hard to describe him, but he's a super nice guy. And it's a pleasure to know him. Yesterday, I asked for his help. We had 2 jobs to do. I was just sort of kidding him. Now, Tom is a sailor. He has a sailboat that he's had for 47 years in New York. Takes it out of the water in the winter and all that. Paints it every year, so it's got 47 coats. It's got more coats of wax than my 4Runner had and the Tundra together. He He'll show you the pictures. He's gladly going to bring out his iPad and show you these beautiful color pictures he has of his boat, of which he named Night Moves from the Bob Seger song. And there's a story behind it, and I won't share that, and it's not, super personal or anything, but sort of. So I'll just leave it at that. He watches my channel, and I don't know if he wants me to talk about that. But someone had told me how he got the name on it. So anyway, I told him, I said, I got a couple of projects. Teddy was down there working on one of his classic cars in the shop, where he likes to tinker every day when he's not out there on the dock working on his tan. Miss Jolene has got the hand truck moving 2 to 3 of those big rocks you saw from the ones that were extra after she's already placed all the rock garden where she wanted it. Now she's got these extra ones and some crumbs, and so she wants to rake the beach area. And so she's doing her job. She's always policing the property. That's what keeps her busy. And she's moving them. I mean, I must have seen her go back and forth past the teardrop a dozen times or more, a couple of dozen times, moving these rocks. And she squats when she bends down to pick things up. She properly knows how to lift. This woman, a woman should be so lucky to be in her shape. I'm serious. She is a rare person, as someone in her, I don't want to say about her age, but her health is amazing. I mean, she can run circles around all of us over there, and ready to do it. In fact, when she says, "Oh, I'll go get it," she runs to the front of the house, to the shop or something. She is ever ready battery. She just doesn't quit. Anyway, Tom. I said, I got a couple projects for you, Tom. One, the center stand of that bitchin' bicycle I have, that e-bike. I love that bike. It keeps coming loose. It's just a bolt that goes down and holds it on to the bottom of the bike. And there's a little plate and the kickstand itself, the center stand. It's called a center stand. It's not a side stand. It's a center stand, 2 bars. And when you put your foot on it and put it down and then rock it off, I even try to lift the bike up so it won't, loosen it as easy. It just kept coming loose. It was very annoying. I just unscrewed the bolt, took it out, and started leaning it against the pontoon boat behind the teardrop. But I can't put up with that. I got to have a side stand, a kickstand, a center stand, the one it came with. I got to have that on there because it's supposed to be on there, and you can't find something to lean it against all the time, and it could simply fall over, bend something, break something, scratch something. That isn't going to happen. I don't want that to happen. So after like 3 attempts, including Tom helping me one time, we get the bright idea. So let's put on some Loctite and a lock washer. It didn't have a lock washer below the bolt. It just went straight into a threaded thing, blah, blah, blah. We did it. Loctite, lock washer. Got that all together. Did that in about 2.5 minutes. The real job I'll have to show you on video, on the cramper, the person that had it, I don't know if it was the guy that had it before me or the original elderly couple that had it, that bought it new. I'm suspect that, I don't know. It could be the guy that just sold it to me because he did some modifications as well. Anyway, hold on. Such a good coffee. There's a step you step on to get into the teardrop. It's a diamond plate, little aluminum step. And what we figured out, Tom and I, was that someone had purchased that step, one of the previous owners, from Braxton Creek, who makes the Bushwhacker, and mounted it below that step. But they did a very makeshift job. They drilled holes, put in different screws, different lengths, different bolts. Nothing made any sense. The one hole they made came through because they didn't have enough metal, because it's cut at an angle. It's not really the proper way to attach it. They wanted a second step. Apparently somebody that had it, that wasn't low enough for them to step up on. But it's really kind of ridiculous to do it, because when you step on it, you're stepping yourself higher than that doorway. You remember, it's just a little coffin. All I need to do is turn around and sit down in it, and then use my foot backwards to step up on the highest step and push myself in. And so anyway, we wanted to remove that. Well, after 4 trips back to the shop in the front where Teddy's working underneath the car, he's laughing at us. We keep getting the wrong size wrench. And Tom is a mechanic. Tom knows what he's doing. Tom's smart, very smart, much smarter than me when it comes to handsy stuff, because I have none of those skills. All I have is my mouth. And but he accidentally got the wrong 7/16, 5/8. I don't understand any of that. I know that metric is even numbers like 10s and 9s and 8s, and but these 7/16 and 5/8, when you start talking that with me, I'm lost. He says, well, it's a 1/4 inch bolt, so it's got to be a 7/16. And then I said, well, what's a 1/2 inch bolt? I mean, if it looks like it's a 1/2 inch, that's probably a 5/8. So I'm trying to mentally remember these things so that I can, glance at a bolt. You know how mechanics do that? They look at a bolt and get the wrench. They look at it and they can get the wrench. They know if it's metric or standard and what size to get. That's a skill, not one I have. Anyway, we go back 4 times. We get the tools. We get vice grips. We get a screwdriver. We get a wrench. We get a socket. We get a ratchet. We get a little thing. And the bolt, the nut, not bolt, nut that goes on the bolt is one of those nylon nuts. So even after you loosen it, you still have to wrench it all the way off it. You can't just take your finger and screw it off. So there wasn't enough room to run the ratchet all the way around or anything. So we had to come half turns and back and half turns. Meantime, I'm squatting. Folks, when I say that when you get older, from 62 to 67, I'm not going to exaggerate here. I cannot squat down for 30 seconds and get up. I have to struggle to get up. I think there's going to be a point, and maybe very soon, where I won't be able to get up. I can't lift myself up. Hey, I can't lift myself up without grabbing something to pull myself up. The knees. Oh my gosh. So I'm trying to get this nut off, this bolt. He's holding the other end. We're telling stories at the same time and laughing and having a good time. Meanwhile, in my mind, I'm thinking, Tim, you can do it. Just keep doing it. I'm pushing myself. I'm not saying anything, but I'm like, hurry up. I got to get this bolt off, nut out, something, whatever you call them. And get up. I need to get up. I can't stand it anymore. And finally, I couldn't. I didn't get it all the way. I had to go back for session number 2. And when I got up, then my back, I couldn't get erect. And yesterday, because of that, every time I sat down in a certain position and I got up, I looked like a 100-year-old man. I was hunched over. It took about 10 seconds to kind of get erect and to get right. Folks, I'm telling you, it's true. Exponentially, it can happen to you. It may not happen to everyone. Maybe when I start working out again and doing the weights, I can exercise these muscles and I'm going to. I need to. Oh my gosh, I'm falling apart. So that was a real wake-up call. And that just tells me that if I were to stay working until 67 or 70 years old and then try to, think about getting a Social Security check and calling it quits, I'd be calling it quits, all right. Quits to the chair and a bottle of Geritol. I mean, there would be no trips to the Grand Canyon unhooking trailers and lifting tongues and putting on weight distribution hitches and carrying bags and boxes and bins. And no, I can still, hang on, this is delicious coffee. It's the best coffee I ever drank in my life. Coming out of that little hole. Yeah, folks, aging. You know, you don't think it in here. You don't feel it in here. You may not even look at that much here. Well, you can start feeling it. So, yeah, I'm going to crush it every day. I'm living every day. I know that by this time next year, the year after, 2 years from now, when I'm full retirement age, of that ripe old age of 67, my birthday's in December, 2 days before the year is over, on the 29th. You want to write that down? And I'll be 66 this year. And I just turned 62. I tried to make a video yesterday, but I didn't post it, about remembering when we were talking in the Tiki Hut about like my road trip. And there happened to be a map there at the Tiki Hut that Ted and Jolene have. And we opened it up, and it was a map of the U.S. And I said, remember these? Remember when we used to use these and you got those booklets, the Atlas map? Remember when AAA had triptychs? And remember when the computer came out and they had MapQuest, and you could put in a destination you wanted to go to, someone's house or a trip, and then you could print it out and, you know, follow the steps. It would read, you could print out the steps. Long before we watched our phones and heard the directions audibly, we looked at maps. And we started talking about it, and we were saying, it's still good. They should still make them, but you can't find them. They should still make them in case there's no internet or a power outage, and you need a map. Your car thing, whatever, may not have one, or, you know. And so we're looking at it, and it was just fun to look at it again, because when you look at your phone or GPS on your screen, yeah, you can zoom it out and see the whole country on your phone and on your car. But when you do that, it takes away all of the other roads. They disappear. You just get this big. And the printed map, you know, even though it's going to be this big when you open it, you can still see, and you can kind of like, I want to go this way or that way. And you can see, oh, here's a highway or road. I don't know. It's just simpler to me to read it. Do you remember those? And, you know, AAA used to give them to you for free if you belonged to the motor club, triptychs. And so we started talking about, you know, how things are different now, and all those things that are just antiquated, you know, encyclopedias and maps and everything in paper. Books, you know, people can read everything online. And it's going at such a high speed that, while, believe me, the technology is amazing, and to be able to call for help from anywhere, as long as you got a signal, and having these smartphones and computers, I'm not saying I don't want any of that. I'm just saying there were so many things that were cool, and how time flies. And what I was saying a few moments ago, I'm 65 years old now. The months are peeling off, and I'm going to be 66. And I just turned 62 and started drawing my Social Security. I was driving the truck the other day over in Lake Worth on the letter streets off 10th Avenue and 95. And A Street, B Street, C Street, D Street, all my friends live there. And I turned and parked to look at my phone. And I said, oh, I'm on D Street. Let me go over here to C Street, 505. That's where my friend Kenny Marone used to live. And all of those houses on those alphabet streets are little tiny, I mean, they can't be more than 700, 800, 900 square feet. I mean, that'd be a big one. And I thought, yeah, it just took me back, like spending the night over at Kenny's house. And then I got up to A Street, where I wanted to turn and come back to get on 95 and head back to the home 20, and I'm looking at the sidewalk on A Street, and my mind immediately went to, you rode your 10-speed bike every day of the world when you were in high school down that sidewalk to Lake Worth High School. Every day, back and forth. We had interesting hours at our school in Lake Worth. I was class of 77. So around 1975, when I was a freshman, the juniors and seniors started very early in the morning. I think the bell rang at 7, let's say. And at noon, they were released. At 12:30, 30 minutes later, freshman and sophomore, it was 4 grades in high school in my day, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. And we had the later. So my friend Biff and I, Biff Barris, good guy, would go fishing or do whatever we wanted to do in the morning. Sleep in, stay up late, watch movies, Creature Feature, all them things we used to watch as kids. And I had a room in the garage at my dad's house over in Lake Clark Shores. And we didn't have to be at school till 12:30 in the afternoon. You ever heard of that? And it went till 5 or 5:30. I think it was 5, maybe 5:30. And bell would ring, we'd be released, and we'd go home. But we loved it. And then, of course, I'm sure the juniors and seniors loved their deal because they had the rest of the day from like noon. They're out. I think it's kind of a cool schedule myself, to have both. You get 2 years of it as 9th and 10th grade, and then, the early one later. So anyway, I'm just driving down A Street, and I'm looking at the sidewalk, and I'm remembering driving my 10-speed. There was no computers. There were no phones. There were no pagers. There were nothing of the sort. We found each other by going to hangout spots, going home and waiting for a phone to ring. We did have answering machines in those days, and nobody in the world knew where you were at. Once you leave the house, there was no way of contacting you unless they saw you or ran into you at one of the hangout spots. And what did we do? I'll tell you what we did. We didn't sit there and look at a phone all day, as I'm guilty of myself now. We didn't do that. Just think of the hours a week we all spend staring at our phones. That can't be good for your eyes either. I mean, anytime you're in idle position, waiting in a doctor's office, anytime, that thing comes out and that's what you look at. In those days, we couldn't even spell cell phone. There was no such thing. We were outside. We played. We pedaled our 10-speed bike. We went somewhere to find something to do. We were young, dumb, and full of it. And we stayed busy, and we were in health. We played sports. And when people watched, they could only sit there and watch. They couldn't look at their phones. I'm just trying to remember, like how this was here in Boynton. I'm literally sitting on the corner of Seacrest and Woolbright Road. And my dad had a house 2 blocks over here. And I moved here from San Diego with my second wife, Linda, right behind the water tower over here. And it was a different time. All these houses back here that are in front of me are still there. That's old school, old time Boynton Beach. And yet you look around and everything has been tore down, built up, new stuff. They've rebuilt the Publix 3 times. It's just amazing. The police department, the library, all that's been redone. Condos up and down the beach that were never there that are now blocking the ocean view. And you can't go that way because you got to be a resident to even get there. So many changes that are good and bad. You know, people come down here with all the money and they're like, I want to own all this and you're not allowed to be around here anymore. We used to hang out at the inlet where I go all the time. That one little island on the other side, I'll point it out sometime. It used to be called Beer Can Island. And we would all go over there and as kids and, you know, do what kids do. And then the people bought the big mansions on A1A right on the other side of the bridge. One guy bought that, rumor is, and put all these pilings in the ground where boats couldn't pull up to it and owned it and wanted to clarify it as a bird sanctuary so that we couldn't go there because he didn't like hearing the noise. Kind of like I didn't like hearing that noise the other day. Somebody was complaining. By the way, just to clarify, those were not children. Those were adults and young adults when I was walking at John Prince Park that were making noise when I was trying to make my video. They have every right to make all the noise and holler and scream they want. I was just saying, I need to get away from them. I can't hear myself think. I'm trying to talk on this video. No, I got nothing against children laughing and having a good time and doing what children do. I love children. Anyway, I digress. Back then, the old days. So I must be getting old, sitting here talking about the old days. And then driving across country multiple times in my life. This is why I want to do it again. Some people have a bucket list to go, you know, to New Zealand or Australia or take a cruise, whatever. Great. Do it. I hope you can do it. Me, I like to just repeat the things that I know that I like to do. Once I get past the tree line and get further west, and I start seeing that open land of New Mexico and Arizona and, you know, on the other side of Texas there. And I'm looking around and I'm starting to feel like a cowboy. And I get into Arizona and I see them cactus that you don't see in New Mexico or Texas. They're all like different deserts. If you've ever traveled, you know what I'm talking about. Colorado, which I don't have very much experience at all, I do need to pull the teardrop up in there as it warms up. I hope to be gone forever and just stay out there because I'm going to be fully self-contained. And knowing that I might be out there for a length of, you know, for a good length, I wouldn't want to have that big camper. It's just too much trouble to set all that up, all those multiple times that I might be, you know, out there. Here's a guy with a 3500 dually Chevy 4-door, 4-wheel drive, diesel. Whew. Wow. He must cost $100,000 for that truck. He can pull anything. But even if I had that, see, I wouldn't want to pull a big trailer all around. You got to find somewhere. You can't pull down any road. You got to have a pull-through site at campgrounds. The turns are tight, and I looked at those big ones. I loved them. I dreamed of them. A big fifth wheel with big windows all around. Now I see that would be great to park somewhere and live in. Yeah, they're beautiful, gorgeous. But to drag around with all that tweaking and moving and all that integrity of the structure, all cutouts from all them windows and stuff, and all them extra features and appliances and washers and dryers and hoses and wires, no thank you. No thank you. Buy, pull it to a spot, live in it, absolutely. Not a problem. Better than a mobile home, or as good. Got nothing wrong with it. Got nothing against it. But I don't want to drag anything like that. What I have isn't really too bad, the Crasher. It really isn't too big. I know a lot of you wish I would take it, and, you know, that's the way to go. And I'm not saying I won't. I'm not saying I won't in the future for more trips. I'm not saying that. Let me go out in the teardrop and see. But I'm already camping in it. And I haven't even used my galley. And when I start really, you know what I was looking at last night on Amazon? I'm all over the place. Let me have another sip. I'm all hopped up. Easy Ups. You know those Easy Ups? It's a canopy tent. You see them at the street fairs and stuff. People set up and they're underneath them with all their goods. You can use them for camping. Well, their standard size is a 10 by 10. And that's about how big that room is that came with my teardrop that the guy gave me, that I don't want it. I don't want to set it up. It's a hassle. It's a hanging canvas of doing everything in the world to get it taut, and it's almost impossible with one person. So I'm going to pass that along to the next person that buys it. I'm not going to sell it because I did advertise it. In fact, it is advertised. I need to delete the ad because you have to have that awning that's on my teardrop to use it. It connects to it, which plenty of people do. Anyway, back to, what was I saying? I'm already camping in the teardrop. I'm already experiencing it. I haven't even used the galley yet. I can just, that's what I was saying. I know, I hear you laughing at me. I was looking at Easy Ups. The 10 by 10 is a standard size, but they got a 6.5 by 6.5. And that's the one I want. And I found one, I saved it to my cart. I haven't pulled the trigger yet. It has 4 sides that come down. The front and the back open up like drapes and are pulled back, pinched back, you know. The 2 sides are straight down, but have windows and little like X frame. I don't think they open at all. They may zip out, but they look like big house windows, white with the, pretty cool looking. And it's only a 6.5 by 6.5. I can put up a 10 by 10 by myself. Those, I had a couple of them. They are the way to go. And when you put them back in the bag, they have little wheels on them. You can drag them like luggage. And I'll find somewhere, here in the truck, I can even just throw it right in. I plan on putting a lot of stuff in the teardrop when I travel that's not dirty and grimy, that I can just lay right on the bed. These bins they have at Walmart are $6 and change, like the one I got right here, this clear one. I'm going to pick up like 2 or 3 more of those, maybe today. Because just putting things in there that are just loose and having them to be able to be stackable or throw inside the teardrop is going to make life a lot easier. You can see through them, grab one, take what you want, close the lid. No muss, no fuss. So I'm figuring out some things to do. I'm going to do it, and I'm thinking this light's going to go out in a minute, so I'm going to get ahead of it. There we go. We're going to end the video now because I got to get back. The guys are going to show up for breakfast. We're going to Bagel Twin, Delray Beach. Stop on by. We'll be there. We're going to get there about 8:30. And I'm sleeping in it now. I'm camping in it now, and I have absolutely 0 regrets. I'm being honest, folks. I haven't even thought, was this wise? Maybe I should take the big one. Let me sell this thing. This ain't comfortable. No, I haven't even touched all it can do yet. I haven't used my galley. And I can't wait to cook it up for you guys and make these videos. I can't wait to get my 6.5 by 6.5 Easy Up with the side curtains that can stick out just outside the door and somewhere to sit when it's raining or something like that. And I have a little privacy. And I can put my TV at the door. I've got my exterior speakers on the teardrop. I can play some music. I mean, I'm going to have one of those big portable power stations with me. I've got a generator. I've got heat. I've got air conditioning, music, TV, all in a little package. It's so cool. And I just can't wait to get going. But I'm not going to rush. I mean, I feel my eye right now making this video. I feel it. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You guys keep telling me, oh, your eye looks much better. People around the camp over there, oh, your eye looks much better. I'm like, well, it ain't feeling so good. But, and I'm telling you, the vision, while I can see, night and day as far as blurriness, sharpness. Both eyes open, somewhat normal, but Yeah, I can see I got the glaucoma. That's when they talk about the peripheral coming in to finally, beep, gone. He already told me if I live long enough, I will be blind because the glaucoma is, unless they can keep that pressure down, it feels like I got an eyelash in my eye. So what do you got? I'm going to do I miss doing it, and we're going to get this going. I know the audience out there has been jonesing. I'm very, very sorry that I skipped a couple of days. We need it. We're ready for it. We need a shot in the arm. We need to be pumped up. I know I do. Every day. Every day. That doesn't matter how strong you are, how positive you try to be. Well, it does matter because that's what you got to do. But there's still things that come against us. And you can grow every day. You can always continue to grow. You can always learn, and you can always train. I mean, any professional trains all the time, routinely. Doctors, lawyers, all these people, professionals, firefighters, they go back to school, they go back to training. You have to keep exercising your muscle memory, whether it be in self-defense or teaching or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. So we are definitely going to get pumped up and crush it.